Inane Blather continues. Episode 75. Thank you for coming back. And, of course, for listening to every single episode up until now, because I'm sure all of you have. There's a long,
be up to date.
There's a long-running narrative flowing through this. I'm sorry if you don't understand what's going on. Yeah, but you're going to have to start from the beginning. No, I'm just kidding. Please do not do that. The early episodes are just not as good. And that's saying something.
Not as good as this. The sound quality in the early ones on my end is pretty bad. Also, everyone, I just want to say it up front, I am chewing a piece of gum, so I'm sorry about that. But I did remember, since you are up to date on all these episodes, I did quit nicotine, so...
Quitting nicotine?
Oh, how I wish I could believe her.
Get over it.
Understand that.
Okay, anyway, it's Inane Blather.
Yeah.
Intros are fun, where we're good at improv and also improv. And, okay, that's kind of a low-key joke there. Sorry.
And improv.
And where we always accuse our listeners.
You're pooping the bed?
No. But, no, really, it's the show where we prove every week that...
Mental illness is when you're right wing.
And also prove that, really, you can get better information, better friendships, better everything.
Better sex life.
From...
headstrong, stubborn, quibbling, self-centered, vindictive, obnoxious, hormonal, sexually preoccupied, evil, thieving, cross-dressing jerks.
And the reason for that?
Capitalism is bad.
Thanks, Ben. Ben Shapiro is our favorite. You know, for those that aren't going to catch up and are starting on episode 75, that's all you have to know. We love Ben Shapiro. Love him.
The hell are you talking about?
No. Yeah. I read Ben Shapiro's articles from 2005 on why actually it's good to kill civilians in Iraq, and I just say
Awesome to the max.
because
We hate all the Muslims.
no. But anyway, it is Thanksgiving week. What are you thankful for? No, I'm just kidding. And yeah, you're going to Southern California, which is exciting.
LA.
Yeah,
It is.
we love it.
Yeah. That is Randy Newman, in case people were wondering, which
Love
I never
Randy
really thought
Newman.
about. But then I was like, yeah, of course it is. If I had to listen to it, that would be my guess if I heard it. But I never really thought about that being Randy Newman.
Oh,
And
you should think about that
like-
more often. The fact
You know,
that is
people-
Randy Newman.
try to do they just try to do Randy Newman impressions, and I'm like, it's not that exaggerated. If you listen to him,
No.
he's like just like a good singer or whatever. That happened with me and my partner the other day, and it was like you got it, Randy.
Yeah.
I'm like,
I think
it's not really like that.
Yeah, the early season Family Guy joke of Randy Newman following them around really kind of did something to millennials, I think, and their view of Randy Newman. Picks up another apple, takes a bite, and stuff, and left foot, right foot, left foot, and he's playing his piano, and they end up killing Randy Newman or something, but
'Cause he's so
I love
annoying.
Randy Newman. It's not just the singing voice and
Same.
stuff, but the fact that it's pretty straightforward. Just most of his catalog is just him as the singer, songwriter, piano player, and while presenting pretty straightforward music in a way, is really unorthodox music in many other ways. It's always really interesting, I think, and some of it, and people that are into lyrics and that sort of thing. There's lots of really interesting lyrics and little.
Kelsey doesn't like
meanings
him
and
because
stuff.
he has that song, "Short People Got No
reason to live." She doesn't like satire or what? That's the whole
because
point.
People would play it. Her friends would play it because she's short. Because she's like 5'2", which I'd never really notice about her. But she's just a tiny
I
little
never even thought
munchkin of a
about
human. No, yeah, no. But so that's what I was like. I was like, I'm pretty sure it's not serious.
Yeah, that's the whole point. Yeah,
Yeah.
is making it is how silly discrimination based on immutable traits truly is. It's like, what if you just did that to short people? It's like, yeah, that they have
Let's
no
do
reason.
it.
I mean,
No.
as far as I know, that's
Yeah.
kind of the point of the song. And it's like, if people misinterpret it, that's too bad because that song fucking slaps. It's super catchy, and I love that song. They got little hands, dun little eyes, dun dun.
So if this is your
Don't
first
want no short people.
Inane
I'm the
Blather
singer.
episode,
Okay. Anyway,
and we just talk about Randy Newman. Yeah, that's why I brought him up.
yeah.
America's sweetheart. Why did I bring him up?
The one
going to
and Randy
California
Newman
for
still love him.
I don't even care that he's a misogynist.
Okay. Anyway, so yeah, it's Thanksgiving week. I don't know. That's why this is starting off so weird. I'm just all over the place here and there. I don't know. It's getting that season is kicking into high gear when I realize that I need to make sure I have all my lists are getting checked off. All of my schedules are lined up because there's things going on. There's traveling to do for people. There's accommodations that need to be made. There's baked goods that need to be baked. There are gifts that need to be, purchased and made, and
Wrapped.
stuff. It's really, fuck that. I mean, that just takes a day of wrapping. But, yeah, there are things that need to be wrapped and then shipped in time, and it's all bubbling up in the back of my mind a little more consistently now since I'm not one of those people that gets those things done early, as I should. But,
Because how could you?
yeah, I had to wait until I get a fucking bonus from work so I can actually do all this stuff.
Exactly.
But yeah, so how long are you going to be gone? You excited? And also, why do you support the slaughter of indigenous people by celebrating Thanksgiving? Go.
There's so many ways to answer that question, and there's so many reasons why
It was
people
3
do.
questions, but
Yeah, but actually, see, I'm one of those white people. I'm like, I have like a really good black friend, and my niece is black. My partner is, Mexican and indigenous, so I can pretty much do no wrong.
yeah. And I can just kind of
I'm
say
queer,
sorry
yeah.
at the beginning, and I'm good. I'm exempt.
Yeah, pretty much. It's worked for me so far. So
Yeah.
no,
Works on liberals.
yeah. I'm very excited. We're leaving Wednesday morning and coming back Sunday morning. And just really looking forward to the weather's supposed to be really nice, but also their family is really nice and like inviting, and like their dad offered to pay for my ticket down there, and just like really, really, it's been really nice. I feel very welcomed.
Good.
Which is great.
You'll be able to
and
give
I'm excited.
thanks
This is
for that.
Yeah, I'm very thankful for my partner. They're so awesome. I love them so much, and I'm just excited to be going on a trip with them. We've never really been on a trip. Never, I mean, for sure, never on a plane. We've had like a weekend away, like here in Washington. But so I'm still very excited.
All right, no pressure, but okay.
Yeah,
You're like, it's just
No.
meeting a bunch of family and flying down on the holidays. I'm so excited.
No, they're all like
you should be.
leftist.
Seem very
whatever. I'm like,
welcoming. Oh God, yeah, you're not gonna have to go in with like a mental checklist before and be like, okay. They're like, so don't bring this up to this person, and don't bring
like it would
not
be
one of those
bringing
with,
them to my place.
Yeah, or so many families, really. I mean, that's why it's such a relatable
I'm not
joke
exempt.
for just like a go-to late night TV. It's like, well, there's how you're gonna have to deal with your racist uncle or something like that. For white people, it's ew. Oh, there's an earwig crawling on the wall behind the computer.
Ew.
And it's like long. Ew, it just fell down.
Oh my God, what is he doing? It's like
I
he should be
hate
dead. Isn't
him.
it cold?
Not in here. That's what you get for having a half done, half garage, half livable space. It's nice and warm.
Earwigs.
Yeah.
That's what you get.
You want to get earwigs because that's how you get earwigs. Yeah.
And nobody wants to get earwigs.
I don't think it helps that I left out like a can of mostly drunk LaCroix next to the drum set. Stuff like that. That's what you get for
I'm just
living
kind of
in your own
imagining
filth.
an actual ear wig.
Now there's something we can talk about for the next 20 minutes. Why are they called earwigs? Do they have
don't seem to
little
have any
wigs?
ears.
Yeah, they don't have any ears. The
Certainly aren't wearing a wig.
you're like, why not call it round teen?
That's gold.
Okay, so yeah, Thanksgiving.
Again,
we already
we're
kind of
really
went over
good at
Thanksgiving
improv.
stuff last week and all that, and then of course the output. Then everyone gets to make me feel shitty by being like,
'Cause you're gonna be alone.
Everyone loves you, and we'll invite you places. I'm like, stop it! I'm gonna turn down every one of you.
I didn't invite you anywhere.
I did get, yeah, true. Yeah, but the only one that I wanted was a plane ticket to LA, and I didn't get to go. No, but though I did end up, since then, I did get talked into one thing for Thanksgiving, which is, out of all things,
Yeah, like
Natalie,
a 5K?
why did I do that?
Like an
8
idiot
o'clock in the
in the
morning going
morning?
on a turkey
What?
trot.
Because you're a glutton for punishment. That's really fitting for that day. A
A
gluttonous
glutton
day.
for punishment, yeah. You want me to- Well, then I do the 5K so that I can sit at home and eat chips and salsa and sour cream.
And sour cream.
Be like, Thanksgiving. No.
I don't normally eat a burger.
Yeah. I usually
steak
don't eat
and
a
a brat.
turkey, a duck, and a crock pot full of chili. Sorry. So yeah, anyway. But it really
you
adds
said
to
you're
it.
gonna do that more on the podcast.
Oh, that's right. Yeah. I need to get back to burping more often on the show. I usually had one every episode
back
for a
to
long
burping.
while. Yeah. That's the name of my EP. Get back to burping. Or back to burping. Anyway, let's see. We should have an inane gather. Harming children
We
is
already know
bad.
that.
Assy and the
What?
cum smugglers. Rural jurors. We already went over that.
The Roger.
Oh, you know what? Let's. What I wanted to ask you
what?
about, because I don't know. It's tough to know how much you keep up with the day-to-day onlineiness stuff that's going on in so-called political discussions, if they can so be called. Have you ever read Bin Laden's open letter to America?
I have
Did you
been
hear
hearing
about this going
it a
on?
little bit. That there's like people that are like, oh my god, I'm in love with him or whatever, and like,
Why is
I
it's
don't know,
another one of
just
these
pointing
things where
out-
like everyone's stupid here, where it's like on one
Except
hand
for
people are like,
Osama
oh
bin
now
Laden.
now all these leftists just love Bin Laden, and I'm like, I haven't seen anyone say that unless it's like total irony, which is funny
Yeah.
because it's Osama bin Laden. It's funny to love Osama bin
is
Laden,
funny.
in my opinion. But it's like, so then you see the stupidity of some. I mean, it's just dumb liberals that are just learn. I mean, not, I just learn things too, but that immediately have this deep conviction about like, oh my God, everything I knew was wrong. Look at what he said. Where it's like, why are you just taking what Osama bin Laden says at face value? Jesus Christ. It's like, sure, it's good to take everything with a grain of salt, just like, military industrial complex propaganda, and war on terror bullshit. Yeah, they didn't tell the truth 100% of the time. Neither does Osama bin Laden. It's like, but it's like, what makes me so frustrated with this conversation. And for
why
anyone
would he
who's
lie,
for anyone
Doug?
who's not online, so of course, I mean, Osama bin Laden's letter to America, which is kind of interesting. At least half of it is, and we'll go over it here on the show because it's just fun. But caught traction just this past week for understandable reasons, because it's like, wow, even back in 2002, extremists in the Middle East and stuff like that were calling out, the subjugation of Palestine and support for Israel, just like it is now. So, of course, then it gains traction. And it's funny because the main published source of his letter was it The Guardian? I forget who had it up, but it's been up on their website. They published it in full, and it's been up for 20 years. And they just took it down because of how it went viral now, because of people because it going viral on TikTok. We would be like, wow, you'll rethink everything you know after hearing this. And it's like,
well,
quarter of this letter is just pure anti-Semitic hatred. and then another quarter of it is just jihadist, picked out stuff from the Quran, things that I could not care less about, but
because he's
what's
some fundamentalist terrorist.
Yes,
yeah, he's got some crazy ideas,
and just an asshole about that too, because it's like he really puts on this front, gets to put up a front of being like a disaffected, freedom fighting guy who's been so affected, displaced and all this stuff, like being on the side of like the resistance and all that, when he was already a rich asshole. He was rich. It's just another just textbook case of those people being able to use the rhetoric of the people with the problems, to speak to them and get a following and gain power within these circles
and
by
get
doing
people
that.
to be suicide
it's like
bombers
Mussolini, Osama bin Laden, patriotic bullshit in America. The GOP, all these rich elitists being like, "Oh, you're gonna strike back against the elites." It's all the same crap. But anyway.
Yeah. While they sit there being rich and sit there and have other people die for them.
Yeah, exactly. He's like that. And what is so disappointing in the whole conversation though is I'm like, but there is an interesting, I'm not going to say I stan Osama bin Laden, but it's like, even if you disagree with every point, it's tough to even say that it's like, well, this makes sense, even when it does, because you don't want to be on that side. That's the power of propaganda anyway, is even looking like you agree with one thing, suddenly you're the terrorist lover. Just watch any reaction to people who support Palestine, suddenly they are Hamas sympathizers. But besides all of that, there's an interesting discussion to be had here. You just look at these points and what it is, and it's like, wow, that you can see how people become extremists. People become extremists, and it gets to this point. It's so automatically, they're so automatically dehumanized by quote unquote normal people, by the media, by all of that. They can't garner empathy. You don't have to have sympathy for terrorists that are killing civilians. But don't you want to know how people get to this point? Isn't that how you should be able to prevent terrorist acts from happening, is understanding how people got to this point in the first place? Jesus Christ is a guy from Palestine. No,
I think that the thing is that people don't.
The thing is,
because
you're ugly, you're disgusting, I'm going to kill you.
No, okay, anyway, what are you saying?
The thing is that racism or xenophobia or whatever is just so much easier.
True.
Than trying to understand someone, because what was unfortunately written in the margin margins of that Guns, Germs, and Steel I bought secondhand for our dad. There are some pretty racist people out there making comments about, this was not his writing, it was a secondhand book, but just about, like Islam being this violent, dogmatic religion and blah, 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 because they would say what brought him there is because he's Muslim and they're like that.
Exactly, yeah.
That's what people would say. It's like it's just an easy thing to...
It doesn't help that he lists so much from the Quran.
I mean, well, yeah, that he really...
But it's like, but white people have been doing it. What do you think...
Oh, for
How do you
sure.
think Manifest Destiny
I
and the
don't
Trail
think
of
that
Tears
that's-
all...
yeah.
no, exactly. It's like, that does make sense. That's a good point. It's like, well, you don't put yourself in their place. I mean, it was drilled into our head through serious propaganda and then reinforced by jokes and just the normal
Media,
social fabric back when we were growing up that that these people think that they're getting 20 virgins and that's why they're
75,
suicide whatever.
I think.
I heard so many different numbers. I don't know. But like that's why they're suicide bombing and stuff, and you just passively just absorb that and take it at face value, and it just it adds up and will make you Islamophobic without you realizing it, because
And
you're an American.
And it's interesting, like, if they did have, portrayed just kind of like as, communists would be too, like the extravagant displays of wealth and like the Western kind of like greedy, disgusting culture that we have, by just pushing that off onto like these, rabid fundamentalist Muslims or these crazy communists that wanted everyone to wear the same,
They hate our freedom.
beige jumpsuit. Yeah. Instead of like maybe these, foundationally, maybe it started from a point of like genuine criticism of something that we've been doing, but then that all gets blown
You
over
can't
by
get to that point. There's too much time playing defense
and then
for
if-
insanity.
Yeah, and if there's one person that does, it's really nice for people trying to keep the status quo. If people like Osama bin Laden do crazy huge things like that, because it's like very easy to scapegoat them and use them and to not make any progress and just continue this thing, because it's like because what were a lot of his complaints about us? Probably some valid things too, like about America and like what we do, and to that I always say it's like, can't a stop clock be right twice a day? Just because someone has a bunch of bad ideas doesn't mean that literally every single thing they think is wrong. Hitler didn't think 2 + 2 = 5. He knew some things too.
Well, and what's funny, it's like, I mean, one of the interesting things about the letter to America coming to light is that people who lived in immediate post 9/11 America and engaged with this sort of thing, so many of them, myself included, and I was always anti-war, even when I was a dumb idiot teenager, where it's like, this doesn't make any sense. Why are we still in the Middle East? It's all just a big excuse to kill people in the Middle East. It's so obvious. But you're still inundated with the moronic excuses and propaganda and so-called reasons that were there, where it's like, number one is like, getting Osama bin Laden because of 9/11, which already it starts not making sense immediately. It's just like Israel killing a bunch of people to get Hamas right now. But you don't... This letter goes viral, and even someone like myself, just because I don't know a lot about this, it's like, oh, Osama bin Laden was talking about Palestine and Israel and the occupation and displacement of Arab peoples and the Palestinians then? Because you never, ever heard that in the mainstream narrative of why Osama bin Laden attacked the United States. It was either the obviously dumb stuff, like they hate us for our freedom. They hate Western life and culture, or because we're all consumerists. They blew up the Twin Towers. It's like, no, that's not it. Even if they're
like
right, and we're too
genuine criticisms about like the disgusting nature of the way that we do things,
sure,
like
but
like
that
supporting
doesn't,
Israel or whatever to make money and stuff like that. It'd be like,
but the consumerism, all the Western culture, that doesn't drive people to suicide bomb a plane into a building and kill 3,000 people. It's like, no, because they genuinely have felt in this major conflict that's been going on, that they have been under attack for decades. And it's like, because they are people too, right? Even extremists, like they're humans. Their entire families have been killed
because they weren't
feel
like born extremists.
Yes, exactly. Let's see. I wish I had a better thing, but The Guardian took it down.
Yeah,
but I
we
have
wouldn't
all
have
these
just
screenshots.
been like a random target, like America.
Yeah,
it's like it would have been because of something we've like been doing. Pearl Harbor wasn't just like a random attack on us because of our freedoms or whatever like that. It was like because of bad choices by the American government, like continual ones, like. Not that we deserve
know any of that
get.
stuff. I don't know, so I'm not going to say anything. The lead up to Pearl Harbor.
I mean, all of that stuff. It's like all of those choices are just so stupid.
Just
that's
imperialist
that's not
stuff.
a terrorist. Yeah, that's like governments just being so fucking stupid. But I mean, Osama bin Laden's not a government. That's different. That's like wartime stuff. But it is all like. Anytime America has something happen to them, my point is that we're just always the victim. Like, it's like, I wonder why anyone would pick on us. The biggest, baddest superpower in the entire world who loves to shove our dick in everyone's face. Why would anyone ever have a problem with us?
That's why, like, as someone who was young enough to not be aware immediately of how big of a deal 9/11 was when it happened, but old enough and nerdy enough, like enough of a news listener to be like, well, I mean, things like that happen. The USS Cole was just blown up like a little while ago. And it's like, of course, we have a bunch of war stuff over there. And now we got attacked over here. And then you realize as the day goes on, because I was like, in 7th grade or whatever. And it was like, that doesn't happen here.
That doesn't happen to us.
It's like, it's just us attacking them all the time and saying it's just normal. It's like...
And why would it happen back to us?
Yeah, exactly. And it's like we just happen to be this, not only very powerful, but an ocean away from everywhere else that we have been attacking and subjugating and cooing and all that stuff. Yeah, that's
definitely not a problem for us. That ocean does not get in the way.
Because we're powerful enough, But so it's like, if...
do you remember Freedom Fries?
Oh, yeah.
How fucking stupid that was. It's so funny to think back on, like...
insane.
People literally not even calling them French fries because the French were like, you are so stupid for wanting to invade.
Like, people...
how you say...
like, and not even for problematic issues, people just don't get how good of a satire Team America World Police was. That movie was amazing. That is my generation's type thing. It's like, but that's so offensive. It's like, that's how people thought. That's the joke. Like the smarmy, dumb liberal, do nothing attitudes and the over the top nationalistic world police garbage that was going on. Like America, it was all it was too real. It was like so they just do it over the top and as puppets that are fucking and throwing up everywhere, and it's like, no, this is good satire, by the way. But let's see.
Oh man.
So, and I mean, just to sum up a lot of the stuff that I read, like, this what sucks is that we can't even discuss. You can't there's two reasons there's two opposing sides that prevent any meaningful discussion of this now, for the time being, viral letter. And it's funny for all these people that are like, release the manifesto of some nut job right-wing shooter because they want to know if they actually did use the F slur or not. You know, it's like, oh, but you don't want like the open letter manifesto from the guy that killed all those people. You want the manifesto from the trans shooter. Okay. Anyway, but
you can't let Osama's manifesto out there, because then people will like know who he is and stuff. We can't get that, don't call him by his name. No one really knows who he is or anything.
Osama bin Voldemort.
You don't want people following him.
Yeah, it's like even just reading the letter.
That was, and I don't say this lightly, worse than 100 September 11th.
Yeah, no, but
nice,
man.
That's
I'm
really funny.
Tangent Tim today, but. Really off track. The two, there's like two, like not opposing, but these, the reasons on both sides where we can't get any interesting, meaningful discussion about all of this, because on one side, the people who unambiguously, stupidly just take his side. And then the other ones that...
Osama bin Laden?
Yes! It's all over! Yes! That's the point. And then because of those people, then you have the reactionary, like, immediate, if you want to say anything meaningful about it, they're like, oh, so now you're just a huge Osama bin Laden fan. Unironically thinking that you are. It's like, fine, I guess this just should have, it's just a completely meaningless document now. Like, and not even the document itself, but the fact that it's come up now is the interesting thing because of its content. Mm-hmm. And it's like, because in a lot of this, like I said, it just, who cares? Like, the whole... Let's see, in the name of Allah, the most gracious, most merciful, permission to fight against disbelievers, like jihadist crap for like, for a few paragraphs. And then it's like, and then he actually goes into it. He's like, here are my reasons. This is why we did it. And it's like OJ's if I did it. But, except he took the if out. From that first book, how they did it. But let's see. Yeah, some American writers have published articles under the title, On What Basis Are We Fighting? These articles have generated a number of responses, some of which adhered to the truth and were based on Islamic law, and others which have not. Here, we wanted to outline the truth as an explanation and a warning, hoping for Allah's reward, blah, 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 blah. What are we calling you to? What do we want? Why are we fighting? Why are we opposing? And it's like the number one thing, and he lists like it by paragraph and bullet points. Why are we fighting and opposing you? The answer is very simple. 1, because you attacked us and continue to attack us. The first subset, you attacked us in Palestine. Like, this is like the first, and especially because he's an Islamic fundamentalist, supposedly, or at least his public character and persona of Osama bin Laden is a fundamentalist, and he's good at wielding the words of the Quran for jihadist revolution. Palestine, which has sunk under military occupation for more than 80 years. The British handed over Palestine with your help and your support to the Jews who have occupied it for more than 50 years. Years overflowing with oppression, tyranny, crimes, killing, expulsion, destruction, and devastation. The creation and continuation of Israel is one of the greatest crimes, and you are the leaders of its criminals. And this was 21 years ago that he's saying this about the crimes against Palestinians. And like I said, it's Osama bin Laden. You can take it with a grain of salt. But it's like, this was a common talking point for those, it sucks that not only does he get pretty anti-Jew, more than...
Shocking.
More than even some extremist, freedom fighters or revolutionaries in the Middle East that support Palestine, even Hamas
I just
leaders.
mean I'm not surprised to hear that he has some pretty
extreme views. Yeah, but
even
some like Hamas like
views.
leaders still publicly differentiate where it's like, no, it's about Israel, the Jews of Israel that are that have like attacked us. Some of them don't, of course. They're just straight up want to kill all the Jews. Like. I'm not on board with that, bro. But as if you care. But it's like, it's like I don't know if you want to kill all of them. And he's just like,
Shut the hell up, bitch.
I'm like, sorry, Mr. Bin Laden, if that is your real name. But yeah, attacked in Palestine. Let's see. And that's why, so he uses these justifications for his attack of America. That's what all of this leads up to. Like, he lays out like this like argument, like this kind of, it's this little essay, right? Mm-hmm. And he's like, hey, essay, check out my argument. And I need to button my top button here for that. No, but let's see. And then let's see. It brings us both laughter and tears. See if you're not tired of repeating your fabricated lies that the Jews have a historical right to Palestine, as it was promised. Let's see. Anyone who disputes with them on this alleged fact is accused of anti-Semitism. He's saying this 20 years ago. This is one of the most fallacious, widely circulated fabrications in history. And then it's like, and then he goes the opposite way. Well, the Arabs are the real ones. It's like, no, you should just both be able to live there like you all fucking did for so long, even under colonial rule.
I'm just shocked
but
that an extremist terrorist wouldn't have a more nuanced approach to these things, you know?
It is. That's the problem. A lot of it kind of is. Like, and but then he just goes the opposite, and then he just swings the other way. And that's why it's like, well, this is interesting to see and talk about, see how these things can get people on his side then. I mean, people fought for Al-Qaeda and stuff like that. It's like, this just doesn't happen out of nowhere.
Yeah.
You only think that if you are like a prejudiced person who thinks that, because they're born there and they're brown and
they're
Muslim, that of course, they just want to pick up a machine gun and give their life for a jihad and live in just horrible conditions and kill women and children. No, you idiot, you moron, you dunce. That's not it.
I guess, I don't know. I just really feel like, do people really think that like every person who was like a Nazi was like a horrible, like Jew-hating monster? Do they think that every person who's like in a gang is just like the most despicable, lying, cheating, stealing, murdering
it's not
person?
Innate.
It's like
they can become that by being a Nazi or by being like a jihadist, but
forced into making the decision to be. Some of these choices are out of your hand. It does feel like when you're
funneled to it.
Where are you living to where you have to be deciding whether or not you want to be a follower of Osama bin Laden? I feel like that's like really a bummer of a place to be at, you know, like where it's not just like a foregone, like, no shit, I'm not going to be a member of a terrorist organization. Of course I'm not going to be. Where would I even start?
I have
with that?
other choices.
You live in you live in an unstable area, you know, sometimes where it's like choices look a lot different for people.
And
and I think that it's
when you those choices have become so narrowed, let's say that like, and you have, you know, you still have these diverging paths that can be gone down on. Both of them are difficult, horrible lives, you know, and one is like being a peace activist, like putting your life on the line for this, or the other is joining the people who are saying, yes, we're going to get revenge on those people that killed your entire family. It's no small wonder that people go along with them. There's no small wonder that people join the empire, you know, or join the rebellion, And it's
there's reasons for people to. There's all these, reasons. There's this book that I read. A couple books actually. One of the characters in one of them is like he's like 11 in the beginning of the book. He ends up being a Nazi. They just made a movie out of it on Netflix. It's All the Light We Cannot See.
Oh,
he's one of the characters.
I've heard of that book.
And then that's
from you.
the author is Anthony Doerr. And the second book is Cloud Cuckoo Land. That was the same author. And one of the
bad
characters
title.
in it is a he commits an act of terrorism.
Yeah.
And I felt so bad for this boy. Like, I loved him, and he really, someone beloved is killed because of him.
Yeah.
And it's his reasoning and all of it. Man, some of it, I sat there, I wept for this, who I know ends up doing something terrible too. Seeing his life, and how difficult it has been for him, and all the reasons why he's even going down this path of being so angry.
Yeah.
His
Reasons,
is like kind of an environmental
not excuses,
thing.
not justifications.
No,
reasons.
Genuinely, you really feel what could make someone who's maybe, especially a little bit, if they're in any way he's a little bit different. This
Osama
kid, in the book
put in here, and he said, blaming George W. Bush, he said, "Let me invoke the immortal words of Hoobastank, and the reason is you." So, okay, that didn't land very well. Osama was playing his.
Osama bin Laden.
He hooked up to his Line 6
huge
amp,
fan.
and he was playing guitar. I'm not a perfect person. But
that would have been awesome.
But so yeah, like I said, some of the interesting stuff in here is what gets glossed over is how through with this extremist rhetoric, someone lays out their justification, what through their logic that they lay out, their justification for attacking America in particular. This is his letter to America, because it's not just about us, referring to what he would say, fighting back against Israel, or Israel attacking them in Lebanon, or Russian forces attacking Muslims in Chechnya, things like that, but America in particular. And just stuff like this, under your supervision, consent, and orders, the governments of our countries which act as your agents attack us on a daily basis. That's a quote from here. It's talking about, how we fund this stuff. That's been a talking point now, where it's your tax dollars are funding the death of now 4,000 children in Palestine. At this point, I think it's more now. That was just the number a few days ago, is all I know, because a ceasefire has still not happened. But let's see, another one. Let's see, you have starved. Okay. You steal our wealth and oil at paltry prices because of your international influence and military threats. This theft is indeed the biggest theft ever witnessed by mankind in the history of the world. Your forces occupy our countries. You spread your military bases throughout them. You corrupt our lands. You besiege our sanctities to protect the security of Israel and to ensure the continuity of it. I don't even like reading it. That just him saying Jews, it feels like that Louis C.K. bit instead of just talking about Jewish
it depends
people.
On how you
say
it.
Jews.
For sure.
Yeah, but and continuity of your pillage of our treasures. You have starved the Muslims of Iraq, where children die every day. It's a wonder that more than 1.5 million Iraqi children have died as a result of your sanctions, and you did not show concern. Yet when 3,000 of your people died, the entire world rises and has not yet sat down. Let's see, under the protection of your weapons, Ariel Sharon entered the mosque, destroyed it. All these little things where it's you funded this, and you're involved in everything, speaking to the United States. I mean, and nothing, and that's the problem. You can't even talk about it without having to couch it in like, and of course, I don't think this justifies killing 3,000 civilians who just went to work one day. Like, duh, that's before the starting point of this conversation.
No fucking
I
shit.
know, and it's like
those things where it's like, just because I'm pro-choice doesn't mean I want babies birthed and then their limbs hacked off like the chainsaw
it's
massacre.
Like this,
where it's like, we're already assuming that no fucking shit, civilians shouldn't die. Duh.
If you're
like that, doesn't
if you're
have to be any even part of the
picking
conversation.
on someone, if you're not even like poking the bear isn't even the right thing, but it's like where there's these reasons for reactions that it's like you don't blame the victims, but you have to see connections. Like, it's not the people that died on 9/11, it's not their fault, but their leaders caused this. Like, caused the reaction that created this. Like, it takes two to tango. And it's like, okay, and what got me is, here's what you'll like, Natalie. This is where you become an Osama bin Laden stan. No, I mean, the strange logic that he uses to justify his killing of all these American civilians really echoes the sentiment of so many fucking people right now who defend Israel destroying Gaza. It's straight up. And he says,
Yikes.
Let's see, 3. You may then dispute that all the above, all these things that he lists, that America has had a hand in and supports in the killing of all of these Arab people, right? You may then dispute that all the above does not justify aggression against civilians for crimes they did not commit and offenses in which they did not partake. A. This argument he's like
mental illness is when you're right wing.
Yeah, that's exactly what I was thinking.
Okay. This argument,
change my mind.
This argument contradicts your continuous repetition that America is the land of freedom and its leaders in this world. Therefore, the American people are the ones who choose their government by way of their own free will, a choice which stems from their agreement to its policies.
Don't put that on us, Osama.
That's exactly what I'm saying.
Yeah.
Thus, the American people have chosen, consented to, and affirmed their support for the Israeli oppression of the Palestinians, the occupation and usurpation of their land, and its continuous killing, torture, punishment, and expulsion of the Palestinians. The American people have the ability and choice to refuse the policies of their government and even to change it if they want. And it's like,
no, we don't.
No, that's the thing.
Feel bad.
That's
for
what
us.
he's
No,
saying. He's like, oh, it doesn't. Oh, so you're what? You're lying? America doesn't give their people choice because supposedly you're a democracy that reflects the will of the people, and your country has been murdering us by the thousands. And so it's like. It's funny because, like I was saying,
capitalism is bad.
It's like Ben Shapiro will be like, well, this is a gotcha. It's like, but it's some weird like debate bro reaction gotcha to the murdering of 3,000 people on 9/11. But I see the same rhetoric, the same line of so-called logic, if it can so be called, as you mouth it.
Man, that was a good one.
But the same thing with people saying like, well, they're like, the Palestinians aren't Hamas. Hamas isn't the Palestinians. They're like, well, they chose them. They voted in Hamas. Maybe they shouldn't have fucked around and found out. I see that all the time on Twitter where and number one reaction is like, no, not the 4,000 people who aren't even of voting age. They didn't choose Hamas back in 2005, the last time elections were chosen. But it's the same line of reasoning.
Almost 20
where it's
years
like,
ago.
hey, Hamas was elected, and then they killed these civilians. So all these civilians that die, they're Hamas supporters. Palestinians are Hamas supporters. And it's like,
and to
so
that,
it's like,
you
so,
say, sorry, Mr. Perfect. I forgot you never make a mistake.
Yeah. And, oh, man, I wish I had, I don't know where it is. Dang it.
Yeah.
Oh.
Our pets' heads are falling off!
Yep.
But yeah, it's like, okay, so if that's your, if that's truly how you feel about this, just be happy to know that you would get along with Osama bin Laden's reasoning for the civilians that died on 9/11. That's his reasoning. That's the reasoning that you're using. Just saying like, oh, well, if you choose your leaders, then, hey, your leaders did something.
That's what you get.
Yeah, exactly. It's like, well, no, that's different because that's a literal war crime. That's collective punishment for what their leaders did. Yeah, no shit. That's what Israel is doing.
Yeah, remember, it's like that 4,000, those are children.
Yeah,
so
and even if they did, even if they killed every single person that they killed that was civilians voted for Hamas in 2005, it doesn't matter. That's still a fucking war crime. Like, good Lord.
Of course.
Jeez, it's like, so do you believe in democracy or not? But that was just the one that really stuck out to me and I thought was really interesting because of the rhetoric going on right now about this conflict that even Osama bin Laden is talking about in Palestine.
I feel like that has to be an unserious argument to say that people get what their leaders do. Fuck that. Oh my God. They don't represent, what leaders represent their country besides maybe in New Zealand or some non-existent place that where people are happy mostly. Like, leaders have nothing to do with the people they represent for the most part. They just do whatever they want.
I mean, that's why it's funny that it's almost like this debate bro gotcha, because he's like, yeah, exactly. So I guess you aren't the land of the free democracy, are you?
Oh, yeah. I mean,
like,
I'm definitely agreeing with him there.
Yeah, that's what I said. You're going to find this part interesting.
Well, what I was thinking about this is,
like he says,
Decker.
The American people are the ones who pay the taxes which fund the planes that bomb us in Afghanistan, the tanks that strike and destroy our homes in Palestine, the armies which occupy our lands in the Arabian Gulf, and the fleets which ensure the blockade of Iraq.
Bitch, we don't pay those taxes. They're literally taken out of our paychecks. We don't have we don't get a choice in that. Those are taken from us. So
shouldn't have been an American, I guess.
Shouldn't have been born here.
His thing. Yeah, exactly.
You shouldn't have been an American.
Like, yeah, well, you shouldn't have made the choice to have been born here. You know, it's kind of like, oh, so there you go. You get to just use this gotcha over and over again. Right-wingers are like, well, they should fix their own country and stuff. It's like, well, they didn't choose to be born in Nicaragua. You know, it's like, what are you, or are you going to use some Osama bin logic on me? Osama bin logic is my name now.
That's nice. I love that. Did you just come up with
that? Yes. Really don't use that Osama bin logic on me. Mm-hmm. People
That's really
aren't,
good.
You know, people are born where they're born, living under the government,
so
under which they've been born.
But that's some Osama bin logic right there.
Yeah, and it's just like, come on.
What I was...
Doug, the only reason I want to have sex with you is so I can have an abortion.
Sorry, I just want to up the, humor a little bit.
What I was thinking about was Decker how he would never negotiate with terrorists.
Yes.
He would never do that. And what's interesting is they say torture doesn't work as a way to get information. It's just proven it doesn't work. I've seen clips of these guys who do invest or who do what are those kind of people called? They're put pressure on you to answer questions. They're like an investigator, but interrogating. Yeah. So it was a clip of this guy, and he's like, do you want to see your family? You know, do you love your family? And like the way he was talking about it, it was really like, it's very persuasive. It makes it's like tense in a different way, but you know what it is?
It's all emotional.
It's finding,
yeah,
exactly. It's finding the things that we have in common, because we all do have something in common. The reason that there are things that Osama bin Laden would say that people could agree with is because we're all fucking people, and we do all kind of want the same thing.
Yes.
Some people get really out there, but we care about the people that we care about, and some people, that's a very limited group, unfortunately. But you can find something in common, and that whole like, we don't negotiate with terrorists is such a fucking arrogant, stupid, short-sighted way to do things, because it's like we all
don't
do have
negotiate
something
with people is what you're saying.
Yes, and it's like, that's not going to get you anywhere, because the reason, you know, we can go on and on about what makes people terrorists and do these things.
One
is
thing that has made them
these
terrorists
met.
is the complete lack of any negotiations in the past. That's why.
Yeah, I would say just like blockades and people starving to death and crap like that is probably going to make some people kind of angry. And I'm surprised that more people have so much patience, honestly.
Yeah.
That people don't just like constantly commit terrorist acts because people want to just
very
get
powerful and very very effective.
Because people just want to get through their lives, and they don't want to bomb the World Trade Center. They don't want to do that stuff. They just want to live their life. They just want to love their family. They just want to see their kids grow
things
up.
To get better. Yes, like that. Those things that you have in common. You want a decent place in the world for your family to live free, free, like, and that freedom, that freedom can mean many different things. But it really is it, I mean, freedom can be just this really autonomy. Shallow, like I can do what I want to do, like, but with America and libertarian people. I was hoping that you should post that screenshot to Instagram for us, using the non-aggression the non-aggression principle to fuck your wife. But American libertarians crap. But anyway, some form of freedom, which more literally just not being imprisoned, That's what freedom is. It's just antithetical to being under control, And that's what you want, not for you, but for your loved ones, whether family or whether that extends out further to your nation.
Whatever your community
your
is,
community. And it's like, and that's how, you're right. That is interesting. Like, that's the only reason people can be manipulated so easily by people who know how to do it is by emotional points that appeal to those things that appeal to all of us. And the very, very few exceptions to that are notable because they are exceptions. They are sociopaths that shoot schools up or something like that, Like, it's just...
it's just so incredibly uncommon for someone to just be a cold, unfeeling,
that's what I'm saying.
Unthinking. It's like it doesn't
cold,
doesn't
hollow,
even really
and violent.
happen. Yeah. People become like, there are things about them that could have been mitigated. Obviously school shootings and all that. It's like, well, probably wouldn't happen if they didn't have a gun.
Well, yeah, but I'm saying that's the only. That's what it's such an exception to come across a person that you cannot manipulate in another way because they lack those things.
Because they don't care about anything.
Like pure actual sociopathy is
the head
crazy.
of Exxon.
Exactly.
Or the head of
You'd have to be a
Halliburton
Fortune 500
Bezos
CEO or a president, Yeah. Everyone else throws off their shackles and says,
I'm tired of being a corporate shell.
Yeah, but...
And they're like, chill, daddy.
Anyway, so...
Got 3 burps this episode.
Yeah, 3 little burps.
Driving that average up.
I don't know why I'm singing so much on this episode. I'm not a good singer. I'm sorry, everyone.
Well, it's coming to a close, so our torture is about over.
So, what's going on with... I know that you're not working directly with Amnesty right now. Do you have any updates? What good are you doing now? I know you're always doing good. You're not always doing well, but you're always trying to do good.
Yeah. Actually, I'm fundraising for a food bank right now. The Blue Ridge Area Food Bank. It is a good time of year. We're trying to get people on with reoccurring monthly gifts, however, because, people need to eat all year round. And the Blue Ridge Area Food Bank, they do some work. Every single month last year, they served over 127,000 people every month. Over 13,000 children in the monthly nutrition programs that they have, really providing a lot of meals for an area where 1 in 12 children lives with food insecurity. So it's really important work. People have to eat. Some people incredibly generous.
You get to make jokes about food insecurity, like a piece of broccoli being like, I don't know if anyone likes me.
Yeah.
you're like, no, you're right. They don't. You're broccoli.
You're ugly. You're disgusting. I'm going
to eat you. No.
It took me a little bit to find my stride. There's a lot of, this is in Virginia, and there's a lot of churchy folk, but some people incredibly generous. Someone gave, it's actually my boss, she got a $400 a month donation.
I would love to be at the point that I could just do that.
Yes. That's what most people say. They're like, I wish I could give more. Someone gave, there's consistently $50, $100 a month, someone $200, $400 a month. It's like almost 20,000 meals that they'll be able to provide in a year with that, because they, oh man. And you know what? These food banks, for every dollar that they get, this one, they can provide 4 meals with that. So I'm like, how the fuck is food so incredibly expensive?
Oh yeah. Well, everyone's got to get a taste. I know that they get donations
and partnerships and stuff.
Pun intended.
But it's like, yeah, it's really kind of, people that I talk to too are so, it's like, what got you involved? And they're like, hunger. People need to eat. And it's like, yes,
let's talk about universal things for people.
Need to eat. And it's very community driven. It's like very people want to feed their neighbors. They're like, I only contribute to things in my community. It's really important, locally, actually getting the kids that are in your school district food to eat.
It'll make them better at school too. I got a certificate. I wish that I brought it in. I was going to say, because it's just funny. I even left it on the counter, and Sophia was like, "What is this, Dad?" It was certificate to Douglas Morgan for, success in something notable fights against racial injustice or something, but it was just part of it was from the National Defense Fund, I think is what it's called.
And
I was like, I guess that's right. I donated money to them at some point. They're just asking for more money. But the thing that they include with it is this little certificate. It's like, is someone going to put that on their fucking wall because I gave $10 to the National Defense Fund? But yeah, fighting racial injustice and funding attorneys and things like that, and class action suits for racial inequality. But I know it's the end of the show.
Boring.
Yeah. Okay.
I hope you get ass cancer and die, you son of a bitch. Go kill yourself. Go sit in the middle of the road and let a car run over you.
If anyone's interested in also giving to something, we have it's almost probably done, but we do blessing boxes the holiday with the group that I'm a member of, a secret organization that helps ghostwrite Osama bin Laden's letters.
It's Illuminati, but it's Naughty.
Yeah, that's never been done before. No.
Thank you. If it has, I've never seen it.
It's just a sexy light bulb.
It's all been done before. Yeah.
No, but we do blessing boxes, and a lot of people sign up for it. It's really good to get people food, get coats and clothes and hats and gloves for kids, and Christmas presents, things like that. Shout out to Wendy, of course. She does a bunch of this stuff and gets all of these boxes together. We're going to be delivering them to people in December and stuff like that. If someone who listens or any of my friends is actually interested in helping out with that, send me a DM or DM Inane Blather or me at Demo, and I'll send you the QR code or something.
Instagram.
It can all help. So fuck Natalie's stupid food bank bullshit. Those are Southern people. We don't care if they live or die. But no, I'm just kidding. That's like
And they will die.
That's like the liberal, stupid liberal Democrat bullshit.
Yeah.
But
also, if you do have if you donate to anything, a food bank, your local food bank is always a good option. Genuinely getting food to people, and they do, if you can volunteer with them, anyone who's young, I know it's a lot of like older people, donating their time. They don't have a lot of money. A lot of older people work through their church with some of these food pantries, and they can't a lot of it, not being able to lift boxes and stuff in some of these smaller areas especially. So Kelsey and I are going to be volunteering here at the food bank where we live, because I know that's the case here, and I know that's the case in a lot of places. People are involved with their church, and it's kind of older people running the show, and they could really use the help.
Yeah, so it's it's like you have less time, but you have more ability. So, and you can help out with stuff like that. But yeah, anyone hit me up or hit Natalie up, and we'll help spread the cheer, the Xmas cheer coming up this next month.
Start spreading the food.
Start drinking the
Come
booze. Okay.
Okay, love
Shout
you.
out to Arm Brown.
Shout out to Arm Brown, our Lord and Savior.
Yeah.
And Zach.
Man,
and
I didn't
Kelsey
have
and Vanita
any
and Emily and
RM Brown because I have my soundboard out of
and
place. But
Ryan and
Inane Blather.
Let's see.
where's the real one? Oh, here we go.
That was a really nice one. Thanks, Inane Blather.
Okay, you're welcome, Arun.
Lucata. Yeah.
Okay, yeah.
Not.
Shout out to
I was
everyone.
just thinking of who else would be listening to this. Yeah.
That was a really nice one. Thanks, Lucata. But okay, and to our new subscriber that I don't remember, but thanks, Discontent
and
Provider.
There we go.
Also.
Okay.
Okay, love you. Bye.
Love you. Bye.